Hello, hello, Awesome Soul here, and I am back with yet another robot review. Coming back strong, this is 2 in a row. So, this time I am doing a mid-range CPU bot, and this is the, let me just grab my list here, it's a rather large name. Well, first I'll murder your face off, if you don't mind. I'm sure you don't mind. Almost. There we go, nice, okay, cool. And make a hasty retreat in the SuppressorReimag MK2 by McNug. 2710. Gotta get those numbers in there. It's not a proper username without random strings of numbers. There we go. So, first off, this definitely seems to be a hit-and-run style robot, which I don't really play that many of, at least in the bot reviews. It usually comes down to support units. Well, I guess the last one wasn't exactly a support unit, it was a tank. Still though, the previous ones definitely did seem to be a lot of support units, so I kind of want to move away from that. Speaking of moving away, zip! There we go. Gotta love that blink. Although its power usage was increased recently. Still though, this bot does utilize it fairly well. I haven't had too many problems with it yet, anyway. So first off, the weaponry does seem to be pretty well equipped here. Oddly enough though, it does have a single flak cannon. And it's the smaller one as well, which you don't really see too many of. If you're going for flak, it's usually the large one, or you have at least 2 of the smaller ones, but never one. So, it does surprisingly still have a pretty good fire rate with only 1. And the best perk of it, are you a car with legs? That's beautiful. Anyways, I could not pass its beauty. But anyways, the nice thing about it is when you are firing, you do actually still have a positive energy gain. It is a rather minimal positive energy gain, but still a positive gain nonetheless. So that's a definite good perk. That means if you've run out of power with your plasma, you can still fire off and keep a constant fire rate. I mean, it's still not the fastest fire rate, obviously, but the thing here is, you're not going to be missing any fire rate, so your brain doesn't have to quickly adjust to this new fire rate, and obviously with pacing your shots and anticipating where the enemy is going to be, that's pretty important. So if anything sort of messes up your shots, i.e. losing fire rate, then that's not a good thing. So, it's obviously not the primary weapon, but it certainly does still help. Now, when it comes to the actual primary weapon of this thing, that would be the plasma, obviously. And it works well, because you've got your flak, as I said before, as a backup, you can still be fairly useful. Now, the thing here, though, is obviously, when you're out of power, it is a bit of a problem trying to stay in the fight. Hence, the whole hit-and-run playstyle that I assume this thing would have to take up. So let me see if I can't finish you off. You are rather tanky. Now, speaking of tanky, this bot isn't particularly that tanky. Most of the CPU, it is 1140-ish, if I remember that correctly. Most of the CPU is actually put up in the weaponry and the modules. Mainly the module, quite obviously. Hello there. Trying to escape, are we? Although you weren't really escaping, you were just kind of... I don't know what you were doing. What are you, really? You're just like a thin layer of blocks with legs on it. Sure. I'll take the kill, though. Don't mind me. Oh, hello. So yes, armor is a bit of a problem when it comes to this bot. But, yet again, we keep coming back to this. Hit-and-run playstyle. You just have to stay at mid-range, which is what plasma is good for. And the flak is also pretty good at keeping range. The only thing, though, is the nanoguns, which I guess I will get to next. Personally, I don't think they're that necessary. You could use that CPU to armor up. Now, they are somewhat useful, but obviously that means getting close to friendlies, which would most likely mean having to get to the front lines, and with this little armor, not necessarily the best thing. So yet again, I will say it once more, maybe you don't need them. I guess. I didn't really say it once more, but anyways, not really that necessary. When it comes to this thing's loadout, I think it is perfectly fine with the plasma and the flak and the blink. I don't really think you need to overload it too much with too many things. You don't want to give this thing too many rolls. The plasma and flak are already, or plasma, flak, and blink, letting you get around more easily, are already providing quite a lot of support to the team. You don't exactly need to be a medic as well, because you would have other bots, I guess, fit the role a lot better. You know, they could be a dedicated medic, whereas you are just kind of running around, really. And if you manage to get to someone, cool, but most of the time you won't be healing. But I guess that's really up to you. It's not a massive negative, but personally, I would say no. Other than that, though, I guess the negatives of this bot. First off, the vapor trails are pretty much always a negative. Sure, they look cool, but especially the L2 vapor trails leave a massive trail behind you, and it's rather obvious as to where you've just been. So if somebody's chasing you, and you're trying to get away from them, there's pretty much no chance in hell that you're getting away easily to hide. Now, if you had Cloak, maybe, but personally, remove them. The other thing is, I have noticed that the flak cannon is rather flimsy. So when it comes to armoring that up, I would recommend actually, let's see if I can't get the flak off. There we go. I would recommend adding more armor to it. Maybe some more rods, or just actually full-on armor would be pretty nice. Rods are always good for keeping your weight down, and if you haven't noticed, I actually strapped on a speedometer onto this thing. And this thing is actually maintaining the maximum speed that these legs can go. And even when you're missing a leg, I haven't had too many low-speed problems. There we go. Very nice. The other nice thing about them is that they are the maximum size leg. So they're not the rare version, they are the epic version. Meaning that you're pretty much all leg, which is good because you don't want these things falling off. It seems like this bot up here has been using the rare variants, hence why they've been losing their legs pretty much their whole game and spending the majority of their time lying on the ground rather than helping their team. See if we can swing around back here. No stragglers behind, but we do have you. Can I get the sneak attack? No, you're just constantly spiraling around. Alright. Hold on. Oh, okay. I'm gonna get out of here. Let's go this way. Join the team. There we are. Ooh. Okay. I guess the other thing, if you do manage to, or if you do want to keep the nanos, I would recommend adding more armor. A single rod isn't really going to cut it. Maybe 2 rods, or just possibly armor the whole thing up without rods. As long as you can maintain the maximum speed, then I would go with more armor. So we did get a lot of kills, a lot of assists, decent damage output, but our score was rather low for some odd reason. Not entirely sure why, but yeah, I really don't know why. That's just the weird scoring system that sometimes rears its ugly head. And we're actually down a person too. So, all in all, I would say that this bot is actually pretty good. It might not look the fanciest, but looks aren't always that important. As long as your bot performs well, that's really what matters. So, with that, guys, I will end the video here. I, of course, have been the Awesome Soul. I thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.